Contenders. It's the heart and soul of our sport.
Where all our heroes start on their path to greatness.
What is Contenders about, you might ask? It's about these little, shining moments where these players strive to become who they're truly meant to be.
They get better, better, and better.
Twisted Minds, currently ahead of everybody.
Whisper showing why they're number one.
That is a huge shift of momentum.
Oh my God, Squid! What on earth? How did Saints even manage to bring that one back?
Genuinely one of the best Pharahs in the entire world.
It all stems from this moment right here.
No way, Quandop!
I love this when the fight is dire, when they must make a play.
Nothing short of magnificent.
LH Cloudy, two-man self-destruct. I never thought I'd see that in my life.
Oh my God, this meta's great. There's so much diversity.
They're not going down without fights. A big throw! The Lucio hits the ground! Another sound barrier finally lands from Kellex. The Blizzard out. It's bought 3 kills from Twisted Minds. EXO are desperately contesting. Just wrestle control of the map. Nobody's feeling safe.
The best storylines that we have in Contenders are these teams that come in and they surprise as things go on.
For us, weeks and weeks of play have led to this moment.
But for these players,
it's more than that.
It's everything they are and everything they want to be.
The Overwatch Contenders Spring Series playoffs continue right now.
Welcome everybody to day 2 of the playoffs in the EMEA. You're joined by myself, Dustin, and Moxie in this exciting playoff format. Moxie, day number 1 was amazing, but obviously day number 2 is going to have even more drama, even more storylines going forward. I'm incredibly excited, and we have 3 games for all of the viewers today.
I mean, we're starting off with a banger as well. Arguably the match of the day. It's going to finally be Twisted Minds versus Triple Esports. We're going to get to know the answer of who is the best aerial DPS. I mean, granted, Twisted Minds and Triple Esports have already gone head-to-head in the past, but it wasn't broadcasted, so we're going to keep pretending that we don't know that Twisted Minds already beat Triple Esports in the past. But as we've seen from some of these other teams, having those 3 weeks downtime in between regular season and playoffs has allowed a lot of these other teams to be able to find their footing against some of these compositions that they know that they're going to run into, which is the reason why when you look at the bracket right now, we're seeing teams like Sheer Cold do a lot better than they were against all year in the regular season, turning a previous 0-3 into a 2-3, an incredibly close 5-match map that went the entire distance for the team. Although they did lose, they were still able to come out on top against Raspberry Racers, so they're going to be continuing their run in the lower bracket alongside SR Peak Jack.
Yeah, definitely the highlight of yesterday. If you have missed those matches, definitely go back and give that a watch. And obviously, that's a team we have to be continually watching throughout the tournament, and Sheer Cold and just improving, season after season after season. So it's cool to see them continually do so. But like you mentioned, Moxie, that very first game of the day between Triple and Twisted Minds. Now, it does feel like we always have to ask that question, or it feels like we consistently bring it up, how, whoever wins this is the best Pharah player or the best aerial player, like you mentioned. Although, I mean, this does feel a bit reactionary, right? It's a bit recency biased, isn't it? It's not always the case that they're the best Pharah or Echo, or is it no? Whoever wins this game, that's the best Pharah or aerial player of the game. What do you think?
I mean, it's just nice to get to see the matchup, right? And like you said, we don't know whether we're going to get the Pharah or whether it's going to be the Echo, because it feels like Yazan does like to field closer to the Pharah than the Echo, but Labda in the past has come up onto that Echo. And when we've talked to the Mercy players, they've said and confessed that they'd rather go up against a Pharah than an Echo, simply because the Echo is able to deal with the Mercy a little bit more easily. So I think it's going to be up to Triple Esports to try to figure out whether or not they're up against a Pharah or an Echo, and work their composition around that, because if they lose that first fight and have to go back to swap, that's going to be a lot of poke face given to their opponents.
And for Twisted Minds, the lineup that they'll be running is obviously something that we expected, right? I would say maybe it's always up in the air if, Lambda's going to be playing or Quartz. And for Twisted Minds, they have such a phenomenal lineup, across the board. It's a really interesting dynamic too, Moxie, that you mention all the time. We talk about KSA and he's coming on interviews stating how, he's going to play the off tanks and not a lot of these main tank characters like Winston or like Reinhardt, because he doesn't have to. They're just playing around a lot of his hero pool, and it's always working out for them considering they went undefeated in the regular season.
Yeah, a lot of these teams start moving away from just having that Pharah/Echo identity and liking to field all of these different rosters. And I think having the likes of KSA, Slay, and Kelix, all of whom are incredibly flexible on their hero pools coming across from XO from the last year's roster that team fielded, are allowing Twisted Minds to really get to have that flexibility. But their opponents are also going to be doing the exact same thing. Triple Esports, Yazan is definitely the most notable name on this roster. But Turkey as well has actually been picked up by this team, and I believe he's either 16 or 17. And he's actually still pretty new to the scene, but I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not he does get subbed in at some point, given when we actually talked to Triple Esports in interviews after their matches, they did confess that they didn't actually know the full depths of his hero pool, and having those 3 weeks downtime has allowed them a little bit more time to get to grips with that.
Yeah, but just have him on the bench. I mean, then what a great setup you have with Legendary as well on the DPS role, and Mo in the tank, and really One and Ange have kind of progressively been displaying their support lineups as well as support hero pool. And obviously, I think this should be a pretty good matchup between them and Twisted Minds. This is obviously a matchup I think both teams are willing to take. Obviously, in terms of Triple Esports and Twisted Minds, obviously for them, they do benefit from, or like earlier on in the quarterfinals playing for Triple Esports side, playing against the likes of SRP Check and LH Cloudy, because they're going to be on that Reinhardt composition. So it's very easy to just, continually spam them out, just whittle them down. With a good Pharah player, it's generally not easy, but you have that favorable matchup. And now when you're going Triple Esports Twisted Minds, you might have to maybe think a little bit more, because like you said, a lot of these Mercy players, they don't want to go against the Echo, which is a lot of that counter to, a lot of the aerial dive, a lot of the aerial composition.
Well, not just that, but the Echo fully counters the D.Va as well, right? D.Va, a lot of the time, teams will swap to deal with a Pharah composition because she can just defense matrix all of that poke phase coming through, but the Echo, with that beam, just blitzes through that mech. But these compositions are going to be based around what map these teams run into, and Control is a really good map for a lot of Pharah. There's a reason that we see so many of these teams field those Pharah players incredibly early on, because Control has the likes of Oasis, Ilios, Nepal, and Li Jiang. And we're not going to see Li Jiang, we're going to be seeing Nepal, something that we actually got to see yesterday, where you can still have a lot of that aerial superiority established, especially if you look at someone like Village, where instead of going through that choke, your Pharah can use that shift alongside an actual rocket sent to the ground to give her a little bit more height, immediately boost over the rooftop, and start to immediately poke the other side down.
Yeah, that's such an annoying playstyle that a lot of these Pharah players have adapted. And really, a lot of them are so good at manipulating the just overall cover that you can get in the sky. And obviously for both teams, you just kind of expected what they're going to run. There is some flexibility that we've seen previously from both Lebda and Yazan. I think, was it, Moxie, if we recall last season, wasn't it Lebda on like Soldier 76 at points?
Yazan also did actually feel towards the Soldier a couple of times.
Yeah, he played Soldier.
I still remember that one moment in Chote's meta where Triple, then playing under 01, actually had Yazan going full meta with a Chote's comp. On King's Row attack. Memories.
Rank 1 in the world, right? In like multiple regions or something.
One in EU and one in NA for Yazan at the moment in ranked lobbies.
Really, really good player, and everybody's aware of that. So definitely could pull it out in his hero pool. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him try something else today. But interesting to see what these teams decide to run on Village, which is their first round.
Labda's already going to be on the Echo. Yazan on that sim just for that initial TP before swapping over to either the Pharah or the Echo. And it's going to be the Echo, so they've understood that Labda's going to push towards the Echo, and they don't want to lose off of Ange being too easily targetable.
And it's interesting that they're running the Junker Queen versus the D.Va matchup and Tracer against the Ashe. And this is kind of understandable for both of these players. UB a very good Tracer player, and Legendary an insanely good Ashe player in his own right too, and is just going to constantly putting pressure on that backline with those dynamites. And immediately Yazan actually goes aggressive onto Lepta, who had to duck down behind. Now Legendary is able to walk out on the backside and deal with the Tracer that just was removed from the fight. And same with KSA and Mech, and Triple Esports, the first one to win the first fight.
this is going to be problematic for Twisted Minds too, because Yubi is their Tracer player, Quartz is their hit scan. So as a result, Labda is going to have to juggle both the attention of Yazan and Legendary. And Yubi's not really going to be able to make that easy invade into the backline because the Coach Gun's just going to knock him out.
Over the high ground now, the retest going to be incredibly difficult versus that Ashe. Already built up to 70% headshot on the Slay, forcing him to swift step towards the rest of his team. Almost getting that point flip, but somebody's contesting here. It's Mo against KSA, almost 75% towards that point flip, but he seems quite healthy on the point. Has to use that shell though to sustain and back up towards the rest of the team. Pulse Bomb almost connects onto him as Yazan took down Lebda, forcing that Resurrect, but Legendary's built the Bob, ready to go. First ultimate in the game, understanding that that's available. Twisted Minds opted to duck and cover. Wait a second, now regroup towards that point. They do have all 5 members of their team ready to go, but Yazan goes aggressive on that Mercy, forcing the drop to the point. Kariko, Kitsune rush from Slay on the point, but there's also that Bob from Legendary that was taken out by KSA. Lebda also falls up into Mo, and then Yubi's here in that back line that gets onto the Mercy, who was trying to go for the Resurrect, and Twisted Minds, successful recontest.
Yeah, however, Triple Esports were able to stall 56% with that Bob just being there, forcing Twisted Minds to rally around the Kitsune Rush to chunk it down as fast as possible. And as a result, Triple Esports are going to have far more ultimates coming into this next fight. So for Twisted Minds, it's so important that Labda is able to delay Triple Esports from just pushing onto that point immediately.
Yeah, it's incredibly important. They rotate through Twisted or Triple Esports now. Without that speed, Legendary gets incredibly low, has to get swift stepped on, and Kitsune Rush. Lebda wants to hold this choke, gets the copy onto the Junker Queen, and a counter from that is Mo going aggressive with the Rampage on the inside. KSA does lose the neck after going aggressive, as it's Yazan to find Slay. Lebda with the copy does get the Rampage off onto Mo, but he has so much HP, eventually it will run out. Anj gets pressured by Lebda, but he's doing a good job just avoiding a lot of that damage until KSA is there off that backside. Anj goes down, and now they try to save Mo here with a little bit of a Suzu, but Twisted Minds hold on to the point strong.
Legendary immediately onto the Widowmaker just to try and see whether or not Twisted Minds were trying for a little bit more poke phase into Triple Esports spawn. Doesn't manage to actually find the shot, so swaps off of the Ashe as well and now onto the Tracer, understanding that you need to be able to get past these chokes, blink into that backline, and keep Twisted Minds' focus away from the front so that the rest of the members of Triple can walk through.
A good adjustment so far for that Tracer swap, like you mentioned. KSA towards that point is the one contesting it to make sure Triple Esports don't get a lot of space there. Mo, though, does get a lot of point presence. Lebda now comes around the backside with that Kitsune Rush underneath. Copy comes out from Yazan, but he's immediately removed from the mech, so now he's in Copy Baby Diva form, while one is pressure from the backline, but it's Mo to find Lebda on the point. The entirety of Triple Esports regrouping around this objective, giving them that advantage, but the Resurrect came through. However, a Pulse Bomb from Legendary connects onto Kelix's. KSA did lose his mech as well, and his life to Yazan. Good follow-up from him. Nice recontest to give Triple Esports the point back.
Oh, double kill with the beam coming through from Yazan. So much damage, but Twisted Minds stalled it to 99%. So now Triple Esports have 3 ultimates, that Valkyrie being one of them, to try to endure. They have to make sure that Twisted Minds aren't just able to easily rotate through that front and onto that point. Otherwise, they can find the flip and force Triple Esports to part with way too many ults in the next fight.
Entering last fight territory now, 78% on the board, 80% going up. KSA is touching the point early, tries to go to the high ground and get some space there. Mo rotates back through. KSA has that Diva Bomb, so can zone the point once they get that flip if he wants to, but he in fact loses mech. Diva Bomb's on the outside of the point, regroups as a Kitsune Rush from one, goes towards that backline of Twisted Minds, and they only have a Valkyrie now on that side of the attacker. They do come through, try to touch the point last second. Now the Valkyrie comes through from Kelix to sustain on the point with the Rampage from Mo. Surely he's going to be able to recontest last second, and they're aware the Rampage is coming, so Twisted Minds are trying desperately to avoid it. But Mo comes with the Rampage. It only connects on Lebda, who goes for the copy. However, it's just on the flank with a nice set of nades onto UB, though the resurrect is there from Kellex. Nice job from him to get that res off to even the fight. Now it's gone on long enough for Slay to get that Kitsune rush and sustain the rest of his team. Copy available for Yazan. Does copy the Diva, but it's legendary to get Kellex during the Kitsune rush. A pulse bomb, though, from UB onto Mo. That's the tank player of Triple Esports down. That's one of the only players you don't want to lose on the side of Triple Esports' team. But Yazan does trade back Slay, so both supports removed. Now Anj gets the resurrect as well. And maybe Triple Esports can hold on, even though they get the point flipped. They might still have control. Triple Esports get the cleanup kills on the Twisted Minds. Eventually, this Tracer will come through from UB just to stall, but Yazan eventually finds him, and Triple Esports hold on at round number 1.
Really good synergy coming through from Triple Esports to actually be able to keep that target focused. Like you said, that Rampage only comes out onto Lambda. They were waiting for the Suzu to be so they could actually push onto the Echo without the cleanse in effect being there. And as a result, they actually pull the Mercy to the front line. KSA is forced to use the defense matrix to cover for the resurrection to make sure it comes safely through. But from then on, Triple Esports have the upper hand because if they lose one of their players, Anj still has the ability to be able to instantly get them back in the fight, as opposed to Twisted Minds, who are going to be forced to wait for that 30-second regroup.
Both teams looking pretty good right now, Moxie. You know, I think the adjustments from Legendary worked out, but it looks like in this fight, they're going to keep him on the Ashe.
They're also going to keep Mo on the Junker Queen so that they can keep having the sustainability. If they win this first fight, it's going to be so hard to actually eject this Junker Queen without an ultimate.
Yeah, and it's interesting that KSA as well. I mean, obviously known for his Diva, but I would say that a lot of us know him as a great Junker Queen player as well. So obviously we're seeing a little bit of difference in terms of where both these teams think the meta lies. Both poking out on the backside. I think the Ashe actually gets the advantage here. Yeah, Legendary. Early pick on the Lambda, but the Resurrect now comes through. As long as Twisted Minds don't go for the dive, that Ashe is able to kind of just set up and get a lot of damage to the backline as well as Yazan. Meanwhile, for Twisted Minds, they just try to set up UB on those flanks, get those off angles, but it's Lambda actually with the pressure from that Tracer and himself on the front line to find Mo. So nice work for Twisted Minds to have full control of that point. UB in particular to open that up for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, these compositions have two different win conditions. For Twisted Minds, it's all about aggression with the mobility that they have. The Tracer, the Echo, the Diva, even the Kiriko can collapse onto opponents incredibly quickly if they see them go low. For Triple Esports, it's about denying the sight lines. The Junker Queen can just immediately knife you into Legendary shots, so as a result, Twisted Minds have to play a lot more passive, and as a result, Legendary gets to find those opening picks.
But do they get the res onto UB? Yeah, Kellex gets the res again, so the early pick might not result in much until Yazan follows through onto Lepta. Finally, they're able to capitalize, though. Legendary's dove on by KSA. Counter res tries to come through, does get the res off, but unfortunately, Anj does go down. UB still alive on these flanks, though. Does get Mo, who found KSA. So both tanks removed from the fight. UB now comes through onto Legendary. One clips him. What a play from UB. Insane mechanics from that Tracer player to keep Twisted Minds here. And now, Triple Esports surely have to reset.
Yeah, they're going to have to wait. Legendary is off of the Ashe. He knows that he's too much of an easy target for UB to be able to lock down and find those players, sneak up behind him, go for that one clip, finish off with the Blink melee. And now we're going to have to see the Tracer versus Tracer, but Twisted Minds have that Kitsune Rush already built up. They can just play, waiting for Triple Esports to walk into it.
Triple Esports towards the Coastal side, try to regroup around the Mercy player, but Anj goes down. Yazan finds Lebda as Twisted Minds rotate towards the point. Try to get the resurrection of the Valkyrie, but one with some fantastic Kiriko play, able to find Kellex, though KSA loses his mech. UB finds Yazan, but eventually Triple Esports off the back of the Kitsune Rush from one will reclaim the point at 93%.
And again, that's a benefit when you're running the Kiriko and the Tracer, who can collapse on these opponents super quickly. If you force the Mercy out of position to go for the Resurrection, which is usually the most punishing play for these compositions, you should be able to guarantee yourself a kill as long as KSA isn't there for the defense matrix. The problem for Triple Esports is that they have to win every single one of these fights and cycle their ultimates accordingly.
Twisted Minds now walking in, and getting those fight wins might be more difficult than you would think for Triple Esports, especially since they have such a large hill to climb. Legendary tries to go for the pulse bomb, but he's taken out by Slay. Yazan finds Kellex though, so that's that resurrect removed. Rampage onto KSA. Shirley's going to force that Diva Bomb in just a moment. UB pressured out by one during that fight as well. Triple Esports regrouping around the Valkyrie on the point. It's the copy from Lebda on the point, onto the Junker Queen of the other team. Great kill from him. Also follows through onto Anj, but Yazan is there for the trade. Even though Triple Esports have given up the point temporarily, there's nobody left on Twisted Mind's side, and Triple Esports will reclaim that point.
Anj goes down, but he gets the res. So as a result, everyone from Triple Esports gets that tank to be able to absorb all of the damage that Twisted Minds are sending their way, and a Tracer and a D.Va are just absolutely dust beneath a Junker Queen's heel that you're able to immediately send billowing back to spawn with one swing of that carnage, as Twisted Minds now don't have an ultimate. They have to build up and poke.
They have to build up and poke, and one nice shots from him onto the Tracer on that right side of, or left side of the point as they walk in, but immediately Mo is pressured by Lebda on the spot on the high ground. Legendary tries to go towards that elephant side to look for that Mercy, but they regroup towards the point. No deaths just yet, which is surprising in a composition that has such a high time to kill, or low time to kill, I should say. One towards the point, has that Continued Rush, drops it for that frontline pressure, but Lebda finds Anj on the backside. Kellex is traded out immediately. Yubi finds his on because that Mercy's not there to pocket anymore. Yubi waiting for the pulse bomb, waiting for that Suzu, and also connects onto one. Tracer gameplay for Twisted Minds is really what's giving them the advantage. Legendary does find Lebda on the backside, does come through with the delay in the pulse bomb, but unfortunately not able to get that kill. Yazan now comes back with the grenades, but Anji is eventually found on that Lucio. Now it's desperation hour for Triple Esports, trying to stall out this point and come back in that 99-99. Unfortunately, they cannot, so it will be taken to that round number 3.
Yubi is having such a good game at the moment, and like you said, we're going to be going all the way. We're going to be going to that third map. We're going to be going to Sanctum. And you can see that both of these teams, they're just so evenly matched. When Triple Esports are controlling that space and Mo just gets to swing away and be such a pain to eject from that point, Triple Esports have the point on lock because everyone is just so focused trying to run from Legendary and Yazan at the same time that a lot of the time they're actually funneled straight to the Junker Queen if they want to try and get to the Mercy who lies behind. But for Twisted Minds, when they can actually find a target and just collapse 3 players focusing them down, they're gone within moments.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like to me, Moxie, that the Junker Queen pick, I guess, is somewhat maybe a little bit too obvious or in a position, and it's kind of transparent with how you're trying to play. So they kind of just, oh yeah.
The problem is the Junker Queen can't peel for the Mercy as much as the D.Va. Right, you don't have defense matrix. You can try and step into the hits to take them, but your hitbox is also a lot slimmer. So as a result, Anj is just a lot more vulnerable, which is something that Twisted Minds very quickly realized. And Yubi was just constantly pressuring the Mercy, and there it is. Anj goes down early again.
Yeah, early pick. KSA dives into the air after he did take some poke from Lebda on that backside, and with that pick, Triple Esports now attempt to try to play slow on the coastal side, but surely they're going to have to regroup, wait for Anj to come back.
This is really problematic for Triple Esports because they're not running the Lucio to be able to actually get the Junker Queen past these chokes quickly. So as a result, Mo was racketing up damage.
Oh, one! What a pick onto Yubi! Insane shot from him with that kunai. Now, Yubi removed. No resurrect available either because it's in such a open spot. Suzu used to keep KSA delayed on the point, but eventually he's going to get beamed down on that front line. Not enough heals to stave off that damage. Lebda goes deeper to the back line, but he's traded out immediately. Anj was found by that Echo player who went aggressive, but it did cost him his life. Kellex drops down into the pit temporarily to try to avoid damage, but the rest of Triple Esports have regrouped around the point and reclaim it as well.
And now they can just poke from these chokeholds. Twisted Minds are eventually going to have to reveal themselves if they want to actually be able to collapse onto Anj or that point. They've always been going for the support lines, but now it allows Mo the time to be able to try to set these jagged blades up and grab someone out of position.
See if that works out. Continue rush from Slay immediately towards the point. Legendary empty the way for a little bit longer. Actually gets the pulse bomb onto KSA. Force them to about half HP after their armor is gone. Continue rush is about to run out as a counter from one comes through in the copy from Yazan, but the rest of the Twisted Minds opt to just run away. They don't want to fight this, even with ultimates, even with the Valkyrie coming through. They try to resurrect Lebda as well, but a nice rampage perfectly timed from Mo into that back line as well, as the rest of the Twisted Minds attempted to come through the point, maybe get that flip last second. Unfortunately, they do not. Triple Esports hold.
Triple Esports time it perfectly. They send the pulse bomb from Legendary into KSA so that the D.Va just doesn't have the health bar to be able to play off of Slay's Kitsune Rush. They wait for it to go out, and then they come back in with one of their own, knowing they're going to have the upper hand. And Twisted Minds, without a Lucio, are going to have a really scrappy disengagement that Triple Esports can milk the 65% of the point.
67, 68% on the board, and yeah, that's a lot of good time so far for Triple Esports. One forced to use his Suzu early, had to switch that back too, so they know he's a target to kill, and actually they do so. Lebda dives on him after all those cooldowns used. The Resurrect though from Anj is immediately right after that, but Mo, because of all the healing pressure, because of all the utility gone, he's not able to stave off that damage in the backside. Diva Bomb on the point. Kellex beamed down by Yazan, but eventually Labda's there with the follow through, and it seems like every time one of the Echoes have the advantage, the other one just comes out on top eventually.
Yeah, Flip comes through for Twisted Minds. No ultimates to work with other than this Pulse Bomb and Kitsune Rush. Triple Esports, however, a little bit further away from there. So Twisted Minds do have a safety blanket into this next fight, but they have to find a pick and stop the resurrection from coming through. Otherwise, Triple Esports are just going to sustain.
Triple Esports now walking back. No ultimates just yet. Yubi, though, has that Pulse Bomb. He's been able to find good value out of it before. The Suzu from 1 is still available, though, so he knows. Gotta watch out for that cooldown. Triple Esports walk towards the point setup mode. Forced to use the shout on that point. Yazan goes incredibly aggressive, but it's into a Kitsune Rush again, and Lepta's there with the follow-through immediately to counter that dive. They hold onto the point for now, but did have to use an ultimate.
Fast fight, though, for Triple Esports, so they will be able to take another. But look at what Twisted Minds are now doing. This is the first time we're actually seeing them pressuring into that choke to keep Triple Esports as long away as possible from this point, so that they're not able to find that quick engagement and look for the ult setup they need for Rampage.
90% of the board. Trying to set it up here. Yubi with the Pulse Bomb into the backline, forces the Suzu. 96, 97% of the board. Somebody touches. It's legendary touch the point. Kitsune Rush here as well. Be able to get those cooldowns back. Also, Anj is on to Lucio. Mo goes down to KSA. The copy from Yazan is here. No Resurrect is available now. They don't have the Mercy in this fight, so they're down a man. They lose Anj as well to Yubi, and this is absolutely disastrous for Triple Esports here. Yazan is in Baby Diva form and used the Diva Bomb as well, but unfortunately he's without a team after the copy runs out. It's just the Tracer and the Echo, and unfortunately it's not enough to hold off Twisted Minds. So Twisted Minds will win map number 1.
Absolutely impeccable ultimate tracking. They know that Mo is so close to that Rampage, and there's a domino effect if Rampage comes through. And the big factor is that Slay would have to use the Suzu. And suddenly, you're incredibly worried. Suzu has such a long cooldown. There's a Tracer with a Pulse Bomb. There's a Echo who's going to be able to duplicate onto a Diva with Self-Destruct. You need that iframe to be able to keep that point stalled out so you can find the picks necessary to win that overtime fight. So that target focus onto Mo and the entrance pressure as well coming through from Twisted Minds to just make sure the Junker Queen isn't able to get close enough and build the Rampage before he goes down is perfect from Twisted Minds.
Yeah, just overall fantastic team play, and I mean on top of that, Moxie, it seems like, you know, we previously in other seasons I think have talked about Slay as well as being one of the best flex supports in EMEA. I think he's still held up, honestly, even on that Kariko. Honestly, after swapping from Brigitte to Baptiste to a lot of these other, you know, flex support heroes, he seemingly always comes back on top. And you know, obviously overall Twisted Minds are a super strong team, so no other player is necessarily slouching, but Slay also was standout in particular on Nepal.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the deaths as well in the statistics. Someone's always going to be the target in these Pharah and Echo heavy compositions, and it's always going to be the Mercy. And unfortunately, Anj was just taken out so many times. It's not even that he played it wrong either. It's just that the focus fire from Twisted Minds, who were able to cover so much distance so quickly, were able to anticipate where he wanted to fly to, force that Guardian Angel. And you could see as well when we were actually seeing the pulse bombs come out from Yubi that he would try and track where the Mercy was around a corner, drop the pulse bomb onto the corner of the scenery so that he's not actually able to fly back to his team and lock the Mercy's movement down that way. Even if he doesn't find a kill for the ultimate, he's still keeping the Mercy occupied and allowing Labda so much more freedom, as opposed to Yazan, who's got to wait for Anj to actually be able to relocate with him.
And maybe speaking about more about the compositions, Moxie, what do you think about this matchup where we have that Junker Queen and then at times Ashe instead of the Tracer against Triple Esports with the Diva? I think you touched on it during the map, but overall, that matchup so far, do you think it's going one way or the other, or do you think it's still relatively even?
So I think the problem with the Ashe and the Junker Queen comes down to the fact that its composition is strongest when you're holding that space down. If at any point you lose control of that ground, suddenly you're having to infiltrate a Junker Queen who has absolutely nothing to do against a Pharah or an Echo. There's a reason we saw a lot of teams actually in Contenders A-sides last year lose to Overwatch Esports and Twisted Minds because they would just run the Pharah against everyone else who was running the Junker Queen. It was only Munich who were able to deal with the Pharah compositions and the Junker Queen compositions that were able to come out on top. So it works then, and we did see Legendary was hitting those shots, he was finding those early first picks. Mo was able to keep that space shut down because no one wanted to try and contest the Jagged Blade. But when they lost control of this space, Legendary had no room to be able to breathe because UB was just constantly playing behind him. And as we head into somewhere like Hybrid, when you're on the defensive half, I expect something like that Ashe to still be in play. But on the attacking side, I would much rather see the Tracer.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that note. And King's Row, like you said, on Hybrid will be our next map. And I think in particular, too, I guess going back to the Junker Queen, too, I mean, she benefits as well from a map like King's Row. Whereas, like, maybe there's not a lot of verticality that the D.Va can benefit from. Maybe in third phase, I guess. And also, first with the clock tower. But the Junker Queen at least should, in theory, be able to work, right? Versus that D.Va that surely Twisted Minds will run.
The Junker Queen as well has that self-sustainability, right? A lot of the time in the past when we would see these compositions, because the Mercy was always away from the rest of her team to make sure that she's pocketing either the Pharah or the Echo, you would actually have to play an Ana. And the problem for Ana at the moment is that you have to hit that sleep dart, especially if you're playing that Junker Queen. You're not going to be able to peel in time to save your Ana if that sleep dart utility whiffs on something like a Tracer or an Echo just going for that straight dive bomb. So as a result of KSA actually playing that Junker Queen with the shout and also the self-sustainability in terms of when you inflict damage, you get to heal that percentage off of the wound. Slay gets to actually have the freedom to go into something like the Kiriko.
Yeah, you're right. I think Slay has a bit of versatility in his pool, and for the side of Triple Esports, let's see if they can hold on, maybe even swap it up with that Ana coming through with the D.Va and make
Triple
sure.
Esports actually going to be on the defense first. One thought about going for the Ana. Trying to think whether or not they want the Kiriko for survivability or the Ana for just burst healing as well as the nano boost to make sure that Mo has the means of being able to push aggressively in and keep that space shut down. And I would much rather see the Ana on the defense. You have that first fight, you have the initial moments of setup where you can get it to the high ground and just chip away at these members of Twisted Minds as they try and approach that point.
Yeah, and it might work out for them here as Twisted Minds. Lucio Baptiste composition with Labda on the Sombra. How often do we see that? UB on the Mei too? Interesting decision making for them. Rotate all the way to the point. They just go immediately to the point, forced to use Immortality Field as well. We rarely see teams rotate immediately so fast to the point. Slay does lose his life for it, but Mo did get demeched and Baby D.Va form gone, but Legendary finds Kelix and very fast rotate for Twisted Minds falls apart to Legendary on that Tracer and Yazan on the Echo. They're able to just surround the rest of Twisted Minds to get the stagger kill as well.
Yeah, the fact that Slay and Kelix were two of the first players to go down on Twisted Minds composition as well just means that Ramatra is essentially a piece of paper. And Triple Esports just continue to pour water, continue to push damage into these players of Twisted Minds who, again, without any control of verticality, have no choice but to just go straight to point.
Yeah, they just rotate immediately here before their team is even fully alive. Baptiste uses the amplification matrix. UB as well. Nice shot from him with the icicle onto Yazan. They try to go through the high ground, but a wall from UB. Oh my god, UB this match has been playing amazing. Perfect wall, perfect Tracer play. I mean, he could play both that Tracer and the Mei to extremely high level. Now that point almost fully capped. Another Mei wall to zone off the high ground. Boop as well from Kelix, who is here in position to deal with it. Legendary still here on the point though, and they have ultimates to recontest. So Triple Esports not out of it just yet. The copy onto the Ramatra. Yazan goes and actually gets the pummel kill onto Slay in that back line. So even off that amazing pick from UB, the recontest with the nano boost was there as well for Triple Esports, who built up some ultimates to stop Triple Esports.
Major props to One as well to actually be able to survive on the Ana despite those Mei walls coming through, and Kelix making sure that he doesn't actually get advantage of that upper side ledge. He has to go all the way to the central window to make sure he can still find that sustainability for the rest of his team. Builds the Nano is able to use it to make sure that they push Twisted Minds back into choke, but Twisted Minds, they've been hitting the shots. They have the ultimate advantage.
Yeah, ultimate's available. Beat drop used from Kelix to go towards that point. Mo still sitting here with the Diva Bomb after the Annihilation. Gets an EMP from Lev that tried to come out but was melted by Yazan. And as long as he's in these fights, Triple Esports have such a massive advantage with that Echo damage. Twisted Minds seemingly have no answer at the moment as they don't have their own Echo. The canceled EMP there from Yazan. What a play.
Yeah, Twisted Minds weren't, like you said, running anything that could counter the Echo. They were just trying to ignore it. And that doesn't work out. It does buy them 2 ticks, granted, but now they're actually going to swap Labda onto an Echo of his own. The problem is that Yazan's already ahead in terms of ultimate charge. He's going to hit the duplicate far faster.
Yeah, he is. Slay forced the swift step to the high ground and trying to deal with the Tracer during the fight as the low ground KSA and Yubi attempt to take control, but Mo's still here with that Mercy pocket as well as, like you mentioned, Yazan does have that copy, one of the only ultimates in the fight. One also going to have another nano, which last time he used it was on the Mo, and it worked out successfully for Triple Esports. Twisted Minds do rotate all the way over here. KSA touches that point for a bit. Defenses matrixes all of the grenades on, just pressured out, and so is one, but both able to keep each other alive for now. Copy still available, goes for that Diva copy. KSA taken down low, but does have that double pocket. Slade trying to build that Kitsune rush. Kelix as well, building up towards that Valkyrie. Yazan does lose the mech though to the Echo on the other side. Does get the remech here as well as the copy runs out. Loses his mech twice there. Pulse bomb now from Legendary toward the main to zone out Kelix in that back line, but KSA in that front line pressured all the way away from the point as Yazan got the nano boost, but no elims necessarily. Maybe a lot of pressure in terms of that point. Twisted Minds have walked all the way now through the point with the Kitsune Rush. Also have that Valkyrie against Anj. Mo did lose that mech towards the point as well as a pulse bomb from Yubi. Fantastic connection from him, and then also on to one. So the support removed on the side of Triple Esports. They do have the Valkyrie here, but there's too much damage, too much pressure. Twisted Minds will capture point A.
Yeah, really good play again coming through from Yubi, just able to cross those distances seamlessly and connect from target to target to target from all of those players already brought low by the rest of his team as the payload finally unlocks for Twisted Minds and they can start to push into streets where again these Echoes are going to find a lot of strengths, but you have to be the dominant Echo, you have to be the one that wins this fight so you can play around the cover of those rooftops when your shift runs out.
Yeah, and they have to keep playing above the pub, you know, inside KSA sitting now going above the staircase, fighting Legendary on that little off angle as Leb is in a position to deal with it. Twisted Minds now playing around that payload pretty heavily. Yubi also still on that fight with Mo on the high ground, falls back towards his team, does build that Diva Bomb as well as KSA has his own. Left that has the copy as well. Yubi on that left side flank goes all the way around. No pulse bomb available though, so really just looking to pressure that backline, but it's Yazan who connects with the grenades, and Lebda with some perfect tracking onto Anj and the grenades allows KSA to now dive onto one without any pressure, but Slay also was removed, and Mo on the other side has also been finding value. Lebda removed from the team fight. That's a lot of damage gone. Yazan also goes for that copy too, and Twisted Mind surely going to have to try to back out and wait for Labda. Wait, Legendary does find Yubi on this fight. KSA forces to use that, or opts to use that Diva Bomb, even though he lost the mech just to get back immediately. But now 60 seconds left. Twisted Minds regroup around this cart.
They have one pulse bomb to try to find a pick, but Triple Esports are going to be so elusive, and it gets even.
Ooh. I mean, Legendary was just trying to fight a little bit too aggressive towards that main side, but Yazan does trade it back, even though that Tracer was removed on his side. But Lebda is able to get resurrected by Helix because it's in such a safe position. Triple Esports can't dive on it because they don't have Legendary to play aggressive with Mo. Opt to play it slow now, using the nano boost onto Yazan. Didn't work out last time on first point, will work out here for them. They still play aggressive onto that Echo and Mercy on the other side, but Kitsune rush from Twisted Minds to go aggressive in the Triple Esports, trying to build up that Valkyrie. Mo as well does have that Diva Bomb ready to go in a moment. The peel eventually comes through. Legendary taking out a half HP, but Anj not able to pop off. He does use the Resurrect, but dies to KSA. What a dive from him to get Anj in that Valkyrie. Also, Mo loses his baby Diva form after getting that Diva Bomb off on the point. One also goes down to Slay, and Twisted Minds will capture out second phase.
Yeah, KSA has been absolutely crucial in dealing with this defensive Echo. Every single time he has that mech full health, he goes for the booster into Yazan because he knows that the primary beam isn't going to be able to chunk him out of that mech unless he's below 50%. So he's able to just keep pushing this Echo back and allowing Labda their chance to be able to drop down onto a squishy, or Ange can just immediately catapult straight into him, and that is not where the Mercy wants to be playing, as Twisted Minds have less than a minute to try to full push Bruce E, but they have ultimates to do so.
Yeah, Yazan has that Echo copy. Ange dove on by KS in the backline, going really aggressive because he has the Diva Bomb, so he could do so. And also, there is no Suzu to save anybody from a Diva Bomb if it were to connect, but nice movement from one to avoid the Pulse Bomb and also the Diva Bomb. Meanwhile, on the front line, Legendary connects with the Pulse Bomb to KSA. Slay also falls down to Mo, who then turns the KSA, and that Tracer Diva duo of Triple Esports hold for them so far.
Twisted Minds know they have one more fight. They're going to have a duplicate, potentially even that could stay near Rush, but Triple Esports have that defensive advantage, and Legendary is going to just lie in wait to see whether or not he can collapse onto a play of Twisted Minds and force that resurrection out early.
Twisted Minds been able to do it before. Last second, almost always. It seems like they get it done, but Yazan with the copy. Does he find value this time? Hasn't been able to really get a lot of value out of the Nano Echo just yet. Has to use the copy to the back line. Dives towards that Mercy and Kariko, but does lose the copied mech. However, KSA has to actually, or loses his own mech. Meanwhile, aggressive Diva Bomb as well there from Yazan with the copy as the rest of Twisted Minds regroup. At the point, they die to the Diva Bomb from Yazan. Yubi and Lev to both fall. He eventually tracks down Kelix, and what a highlight play for Yazan here on this third phase as Legendary cleans up Twisted Minds.
It may not be a full push, but I mean, when you compare the start of point A with how far Twisted Minds are actually able to push that payload through, I still think as a team, you're pretty happy. You have point A to be able to lock down and play the skybox for the skybox for the Echo around the corner. You've got the entirety of street space to be able to use those rooftops and catwalk as well right before you see the checkpoint. And you've got about halfway into point C too, where you're going to be able to really play forward and aggressive with those earlier respawns in comparison to the attacking side.
Yeah, it's definitely not that bad. And, Twisted Minds being on the defensive side look to continually adjust. They're up a map, so maybe against Triple Esports, they do have a little bit of cushion to work with, although Triple Esports surely are aware that this is a good map to take Twisted Minds to. Although, to be honest, it's still, getting into the second phase, the third phase, it kind of matters where that card is, right, Moxie? Like, it depends. It got around that corner, but it really didn't get deep towards the end, so it's like, 50 meters? Yeah, it's not exactly ideal, I guess, necessarily, right?
Yeah, but it's still past that first corner, right? So if the defense do manage to win a single fight on point C, they immediately get that bird's eye view of those players walking out from their spawn into the main road around the first corner and straight under the high ground that you possess. And remember, you're the defending Echo. You can use that shift to boost yourself up into the high ground before the attacking team have any chance. So you're always going to be able to find those opening sticky shots.
Triple Esports walk out of the spawn doors with a similar composition to what they ran out before. Meanwhile, Twisted Minds also running the same thing they did before. Pretty much the only difference between the compositions is that Kariko and the Ana, Yazan, trying to pressure out Lebda on the other side as KSA dives towards that statue, loses mech for playing so aggressive. Maybe ill-advised play from him. Legendary goes now below to the archway and finds that Baby D, but Twisted Minds, I'm sure they're going to try to recontest, but they want to wait for KSA to respawn, right?
Yeah, and Triple Esports are not going to make it easy. They have to use the Suzu to get the res.
What? And then KSA loses his life there too?
Yeah.
Now they're just going to lose first point.
That's how they lose first point. Yeah. Like I said, the riskiest thing for this composition is the Mercy res. They have the Diva. They think that with Defense Matrix as well as the Suzu, they're going to be able to protect Kelix for long enough, but it just does not happen. Triple Esports chunk Kelix through so quickly.
Yeah, you can't defensive matrix the Baby Diva who's being resurrected. So it's
fair.
like, what's the appeal? I guess you have that Suzu, and this is why.
And their heal is just so slow too. This is why KSA actually lost that mech, because they're not playing with the burst heal of the Ana. And remember, Kiriko actually got that rest time of the Afuda being thrown out increased on this patch too.
Yeah, and we talk about Ange being one of the best Mercy players, understanding the timings, the positioning. Kelix is majority like a Lucio player right now. Twisted Minds are on that front line at the archway, looking to pressure at the back line. Legendary, again, really deep in the back line. He likes to do this fight deep without his team on the flanks. A lot of Tracers are very good at this if they evade a lot of that damage, in which he's doing so quite well because Twisted Mind's looking to pressure that front line instead of deal with that Tracer. Yazan gets that Nano, goes aggressive onto Kelix again. There's the Suzu from Slay, but now he's tracked down after Swift stepping. Eventually will fall to Legendary, but Lebda's traded back on the other side, so nice job from Lebda and the side of Twisted Minds to get rid of that front line, but Yubi eventually finds Legendary too. They have the peel for Yazan's copy as well, as eventually he falls to Lebda, and Twisted Minds look to stabilize with the Valkyrie of Kelix.
Yeah, really good use of Slay Suzu there. They know that when Yazan gets that nano boost, Triple Esports are going to be playing aggressive, and as a result, Ange becomes targetable. And Twisted Minds instantly zero focus the Mercy down. Without that pocket, Yazan is so vulnerable, and they're able to win a fight and buy themselves sorely needed time to make up for that fast push on A.
Really aggressive from Twisted Minds here to try to reclaim the choke onto Yazan, who was attempting to walk in. Nice work from them to find that kill, and now marching on through the archway. 3 minutes and 36 seconds left now for Triple Esports. They have to wait for Yazan to come back.
Yeah, moving forward, Twisted Minds making sure to deny the resurrection from Ange, so that even more time now is burnt off from Triple Esports' side as Twisted Minds sit on 4 out of 5 ultimates.
4 out of 5 ultimates. They are sitting pretty, but also Triple Esports do have 3, so maybe they can build the Nano mid-fight as well. KSA does hold on a D-Bomb, ready to peel and absorb those grenades coming from the high ground, but it's hard to deal with Yazan, so they just go deep onto one. Lebda finds him, so it's a traded support for support. Kitsune Rush, though, here is on the objective for Twisted Minds. Lebda avoids those grenades. That's a lot of the value that these Echoes find, and Ange almost gets tracked down, but it's Yazan there with the peel, and as well as Ange having that Valkyrie can evade a lot of that damage. Pulse Bomb connects on the KSA, has to back on out of there, as they've lost a lot of their important members.
Slay goes down as well, and Twisted Minds aren't going to be able to pick up the fight where they wanted to around that first corner where they have Catwalk for KSA to be able to boost up and down between, and they're still getting chased down. Legendary tried to be able to demech KSA, but he just makes it back to his team in time and will be healed back up to full so that they can recontest.
Got the Mega Health Pack now. Twisted Minds walking through main. Legendary still on that left side flank. ASA goes aggressive towards the back of the pub, towards the staircase where Mo is with the rest of his team. Copy now from Lambda in a bit of a defensive position. Potentially might lose the Copy's mech. He does so to Yazan, who has that nano boost to go aggressive. But Kelix, even with the Valkyrie, could not save Yubi, who got picked off from 1. So nice job for Triple Esports from that and a player, and then also the pressure, surely from Legendary onto that backline. Legendary eventually finds Lebda as well as the Diva Bomb from KSA to drop down below and re-mech, but even with some of these ultimates, they're not able to sustain. There's too much pressure from Triple Esports, who did a solid job in the Streets phase now. KSA loses his mech and then eventually his life. Now Triple Esports have 3 minutes in Point C.
Triple Esports are just getting so much more done by pushing Twisted Minds constantly off of these really advantageous defensive positions, and a large part of it is the spam damage from Yazan. He's sitting at 17,000 damage this entire map.
Oh my god, I mean, these Echo players and Fair players farm those damage stats. What a great player he has been so far for Triple Esports. Now, the regrouping around Mo on the high ground. Both Tracers have pulse bombs, both trying to deal with each other during this fight. Legendary now goes to the main side. Kitsune Rush to go aggressive is Twisted Minds. Immediately disengaged by Triple Esports. They don't want to fight this.
They know that they've got time. They don't want to allow Twisted Minds the chance to be able to get damaged on off of that rush and build into ultimates and outcycle Triple Esports time bank.
And now they take that second cycle to come through, looking for Slay on that flank, who does have that swift step. They're trying to force it out first before they come back, but Legendary takes a headshot from Slay. Slay wants to keep aggressive on that off angle, being a thorn in the side of Triple Esports as they walk in. But Yazan gets that copy on the front line. Legendary drops the pulse bomb near KSA, but unfortunately doesn't connect. However, that pressure eventually makes him lose his mech. Yazan with the copy throws the Diva Bomb into the back line on top of the boxes, but it's avoided by Twisted Minds. 1.59 meters left. Nano Boost comes through, but it's Slay to find the pick on the Legendary on that flank. One does trade it back. Kelix falls, though, so no supports for the side of Twisted Minds. An aid comes through on the payload. It's just Lebda on the point by himself. Nobody else can touch. And Triple Esports will claim that third phase to tie us up, even the series 1-1.
1-1, and my goodness, what a difference of statistics.
How bad is it?
Yazan finishes off 18,343.
18,000?
35 eliminations. There it is. You can see. I'm not lying for my teeth. This is the numbers that he was able to post up. 35 eliminations, and the most impressive number on that board is the deaths. 5. He has among the lowest amount of deaths in the lobby.
I mean, dude, Echo gameplay is just so different, Moxie, than pretty much every other composition that we see in Overwatch.
She's so hard to lock down, right? She's so slim. Her movement is so much harder to predict than the Pharah because you can go from side to side, and you can even change your speed up by just holding down and then taking your hand off that spacebar. So it's really annoying for players like Slay on this Kiriko to try to keep shipping this damage in when we're in downtime, when we're in that poke phase, and these Echoes are starting to get up into the sky. It really does come down to the Echo on the other side, and you have that decision to make, right? Do you try and take that duel with the 2v2, or do you go for the rest of the Echo support system? And that was a choice that a lot of these teams in regular season struggled to make, and as a result would be punished for it. But I mean, on that map alone, Yazan definitely outshone Labda in that Echo matchup.
Yep, and I think everything will be kind of changed up going to the next maps in just a bit. Obviously, we have to go to a short break. We'll see when we come back where this series goes, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Has your music lately been sounding off? Melodies sounding out of tune? Shows ending without a swoon? Missing your beats? With no way to improve your feats? Well, just you wait until you get your hands on the brand new Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin! Obtaining such a masterpiece is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim each outstanding offer, including the luminescent and lustrous lime locks of Lucio, equipped with the latest and greatest hardware and software. The Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin will be sure to heighten your harmonies and fire up your fans. Welcome back, everybody. If you're curious, guys, drops are going to continue to go on in all of these terms you see on the right side, including the one you're watching right now. So make sure use exclamation point drops in chat to find out if you're eligible for some of these incredible skins. I mean, obviously you see Lucio Contenders on your screen, and overall, Moxie, so far in this matchup, I'm sure a lot of people have been watching for the drops. I mean, I don't think they expected to watch Echo gameplay today. It's probably one of the most interesting metas that you could observe in Overwatch.
I mean, if you saw the teams that were competing, I think you knew exactly what we were going to be in for. But we also knew that these teams have started to move away from just having that one face identity of being a Pharah or being an Echo team, and they've widened their horizons, and that's why we do have substitutions coming through. No surprises for Twisted Minds as we head towards Havana. We're going to be seeing Quartz come into play instead of Lavda, so they can field either that hit scan lineup or go for something like the Sombra Tracer dive. But here's the interesting thing for me, because Triple Esports, they have a new star, a rising star coming into the scene, only just entered the competitive scene as well. I believe in 2022 was actually when he was able to make his first appearance on a competitive team. And here's what's special about Turkey, because Turkey, we've seen play the Pharah, we've seen him play the Echo, but we've also seen him play things like Hitscan Cassidy and also Hanzo for those projectiles. So it's going to be really interesting for Triple Esports to actually be able to chameleon their composition based around what part of Havana they want to play on.
Turkey, like I said, has a fantastic Hanzo, but tall of task. It's a tall order ahead of him. I mean, Twisted Minds have Quartz coming in, and you said that before. He's such a fantastic player. I think, you know, KSA's talked about it when he's coming through on the interview. He said that Quartz is one of the best, if not the best, hit scan over here in EMEA. I mean, every time he's subbed in, he just absolutely pops off. And, you know, a lot of this is curious, because I'm sure behind the scenes, what a lot of people don't really, you know, see or know, you know, while Quartz is benched and was not playing, he has to stay warm. He has to stay, you know, ready to go in case he's going to be subbed in, because obviously you're going to play Havana. You're going to play these rangy maps where you know those are the maps you're going to play. So what he's probably doing, he's probably playing some of those custom games, probably just warming up, you know, doing some, you know, shots on bots and stuff like that. And, you know, you just got to hope that's enough to give you that leverage coming in, because, I mean, this is a real thing that a lot of players have to worry about, Moxie, is just, are you warm? Are you ready to go for the match that you're going to be subbed in on? And that's why you see a lot of teams, you know, in Contenders and in Overwatch, they try to just stick with the same lineup, is just to continue to build that contingency and continue to build the consistency of your overall team play and make sure everybody's kind of warm. And on this next map, Moxie, who do you think could even come out on top? Obviously, we have Turkey, like you said, has a fantastic Hanzo, can even play hit scan to a high level. But, you know, obviously Quartz is so good in his own right. And it's so interesting how the dynamic kind of changes from the Echo duel now to that Widow Hanzo duel.
If we see the Widow Hanzo duel, like Quartz does to play towards something like a Sojourn as well from time to time, and his Sojourn is absolutely nasty when he's able to be on his peak. But like you said, I think for both of these players, since they are both coming in off of that bench, and Havana starts off so quickly, right? You don't get that downtime. The second that you step out of that spawn point, a lot of the time you go straight into a fight. And a defensive team, if they want to play that spawn hold, they absolutely can. If they want to play a defensive spawn hold Pharah, you can play above the roof of the spawn itself and be absolutely untouchable, poking the damage into the entrances and being entirely out of line of sight, so there's nothing they can do in retaliation.
Caught in 4K, Mox. You look at that camera. Do you think what do you think that camera has seen? Because it doesn't have an angle like on this third point. Seen some of the C9s that we saw recently yesterday with Naga. He's seen some crazy back caps, I bet.
We've seen some crazy back caps this week. That's for sure, Dustin. I think maybe that's just our curse.
It might be. But let us know what you guys think on the hashtag OWPTP 2023. No Bad Patch Amari curse on this broadcast. Luckily for us. Luckily for these teams, I should say, not for us.
Twisted Minds are actually going to be fielding Quartz onto the Cassidy, so I think they're also a little bit concerned about Turkey's diverse hero pool, and they're fielding the Cassidy, even though on this patch, yes, he doesn't have that 225 chunky health pool, he's sitting at 200, so 2 tappable by a pocketed Pharah, but still traditional hit scan to be able to take the Pharah out as those doors open.
Yeah, okay. I like the flexibility that Quartz has as well, swapping over to that, and like you said, Turkey on the Pharah immediately notices that there's going to be a Cassidy. See if he wants to continue with it. It's Legendary who plays the Hanzo on the other side to spam out his own angle. So showing a little bit of his hero pool as well is Legendary to try to find, you know, those one-shots onto the cast, and immediately Yubi notices that, tries to Maywall him off, but now those Pharaoh rockets coming through, poking out Quartz, already forcing Immortality Field on him as well. It's not been able to be taken out just yet until now. Quartz is actually able to find Mo after getting the Immortality Field and healed up. Yubi also finds one, and so far, Moxie, you called it, the spawn hold is looking good.
Yeah, the problem for Turkey at the moment is because there's so much focus coming through from these players with Twisted Minds, he gets very little time to actually poke his head above the roof. Even though it stops him from being out of line of sight, it also stops him being in line of sight to land those splash damages.
Comes back to Peel now. Legendary is there after making the swap to Tracer, and then had some extra follow-up from his tank and Turkey and the Mercy on the front line. KSA does try to find at least Anj. The trade also is on the back line, might be able to find one. Eventually KSA tracks none. Turkey also goes low because he doesn't have his supports, but eventually, even though it was a little rough there, Triple Esports 1-fight-1.
Yeah, and this is the power of Turkey. You can use the Pharaoh to break the spawn hold, and then you can swap him off to something that's going to have more value everywhere else on Havana. He's onto the Sojourn to be able to try to just build up that rel damage, keep Quartz pressured out. The problem is resetting that composition means you reset your ult to charge.
KSA and the rest of his team try to go through the high ground on the fast rotation. You see a lot of teams running these brawl comps do so, and now they dive immediately onto Mo, but be able to regroup, at least live for a little bit. But now the high noon from Quartz has the shield to play on. No! Almost gets the shot, but in fact it's his head who gets ripped off by Turkey. Legendary also connects onto Slay. Although they've lost one in this fight, Turkey's able to slide onto the high ground, get those Mercy heals if he so chooses. But on the low ground, Mo is frozen by a UV Blizzard. Fantastic from him. Although Kelix is trying to run, and as is UV, they did get one. But unfortunately, the Blizzard was not strong enough to deal with the Ant Matrix from one.
Yeah, and Turkey's power slide as well cuts KSA's continuation of the annihilation, and Triple Esports will be able to pick up that first checkpoint, and they have ultimates to snowball. Twisted Minds are going to try and contest. Quartz is actually able to touch. Slay uses the Ant Matrix to keep everyone healed up, and we actually see Yubi throw in the Maywall just to keep them in play.
Yeah, but you don't have your tank just yet. They need KSA to come back into this fight, as Quartz still tries to come back and touch the point. Yubi out of the ice block, gets pulse bomb from a Legendary. Goodbye, baby. Turkey as well with the overclock, connects onto Slay. Anybody else can't touch because there's too many ultimates now for Triple Esports, and they claim the first objective.
But Twisted Minds, for the price of one Ant Matrix, burnt out Annihilation, Pulse Bomb, and Overclock. Suddenly, that snowball that was there for Triple Esports, it's melted. Twisted Minds now can swap Quartz onto the Sombra. He's not going up against a Hanzo, he's not going to be spotted out, and he can just go straight into the backline.
Yeah, let's see if it actually works out. Twisted Minds, they're going to set him up, like you said, in that back line, going towards the right side of the point. Is Turkey on the Sojourn. I mean, what a flexible hero pool this guy truly has to continue to flex over to, feels like a new hero every day. Mo is ran on the front line, has to back up to his team, go into the pummel form, rather, towards the backside. Turkey, the boot out of the Immortality Field, and then back into KSA and Slay, who find him. Also body blocked here at the choke. Oh, no, can't exactly body block him there. Gets choked off, and eventually Triple Esports are going to work their way back into this, but Triple Esports is still holding, or Twisted Minds are holding at the current moment.
Yeah, but that pushback on Triple Esports out of choke has brought Twisted Minds' ultimate advantage at the moment, and now they have high ground, and we've seen the payload literally yesterday stop at this very point because of that high ground advantage.
Yeah, it's such an interesting development that's happened on this map. Yubi goes immediately on the backline with the Blizzard. Yubi able to transform to keep himself alive, and Turkey on the low ground. 2 railgun shots onto Quartz and KSA. Even without the overclock, he's able to get it done with that Mercy pocket, make that a 3K for him. Slay falls, and a 4 now onto Yubi. Potentially could get to 5, but no, his team steals it from him. 1 minute 55 seconds now. Good fight win for Triple.
Turkey's going to have overclock as well. And you can see he's just waiting for Twisted Minds to walk into this next recontest. They're going to be playing a little bit further away because they know that KSA has the Annihilation. So they're cutting that distance to make sure that they're not going to be within range of the Ramatra ultimate, and they can just poke him from afar.
Yeah, Turkey on top of the boilers to avoid that damage. Slay finds Legendary. What an opening pick from that support, from the Baptiste player on the other side. Incoming chat messages, nerf Baptiste damage. Annihilation, aggressive, deals to deal with him. They try to EMP, but it's not enough to get rid of him, and now Yubi finally takes down Mo as Turkey with the overclock only got Kelix could not find any more value, and it was that annihilation from Twisted Minds, like you said.
It's not just that, it's also the hack that comes through from Quartz onto one, so he's not actually able to lamp Mo, who's annihilating at the exact same time. Slay without a Sombra on the other side. Oh my god!
What? He
What
wasn't
was that
even
shot?
Was he even looking at him on our screen? That was actually crazy. What the hell?
Okay, now we're gonna see the swaps come through from Triple Esports. As Legendary goes on to the Hanzo, they're acknowledging that this Sombra has become too much of a problem and they need that arrow to be able to see her in stealth.
You know, KSA Lab does Slay, and they get the headlines, but, you know, Yubi really is a fantastic player. Able to play the main Tracer to a high level. That's really crucial hero pool to have in Overwatch for a professional player. I'm sure a lot of scouts are looking at Yubi as he has that Blizzard in this fight. Surely he's going to play with it intelligently at the choke point, waiting for Triple Esports to choose to drop out this high ground or drop down below. Maybe Mo doing a little bit of bait, forcing out the May wall here. Turkey comes through from the high ground, a little bit of a different angle, but now throws in the Blizzard, chases down one down below, but the immortality field used. Yubi has to back up, did not have the ice block, and just as we call them out, he gets shut down by Mo from the low ground. Also, with the Ant Matrix is one, as well as that Valkyrie should give them some pressure, but Quartz finds Legendary. That's a good pick from them as long as KSA lives here, but he's taking so much pressure from Mo on the low ground. Eventually, an EMP from Quartz does connect onto Mo, but it's Turkey with the overclock to find him as the Resurrect comes through into Legendary. Yubi trades back. Turkey, Legendary forced to use the ice block at the back line, the beat drop from Kelix to keep Slay alive for a bit longer, but Mo's annihilation eventually finds him. Now comes back for Kelix, and that's a 2K for him as overtime ticks down. Triple Esports will surely claim this fight, as KSA did find Anj. It's not enough for Twisted Minds to hold. Quartz, does he attempt to do something here? Touch last second. Nope, recall out. Triple Esports will claim second phase.
Triple Esports now get to retain that ultimate for this next fight, but it's going to be problematic given that it's point C Havana. The good news for Triple Esports is that they're the ones running that long-range DPS. They've got the Sojourn and the Mei, as opposed to Twisted Minds, who don't. And that's why we're going to see Quartz expand the hero pool and go Widowmaker.
Yeah, Quartz, Widowmaker on this point, very, very strong, has those long sightlines. Turkey's well aware that he could set up on the high ground, so he's always ready for that shot, even if it's incredibly difficult to look for that Widow, but instead just finds the front line. Unfortunately, missed shot from Quartz there. May wall on to the side of Twisted Minds with the Blizzard, but not able to connect on anybody. Maybe just zones out. Twisted Minds around this castle side. Legendary with a nice shot onto Yubi, now into the Ant Matrix. It's Quartz to hit Turkey as he power slid into that shot in the air. Quartz, though, did take some pressure, has to regroup, needs some heals from his front line, but can't really get him. Gets the mini health back instead. Not exactly an ideal angle for them as Triple Esports still push forward with the Valkyrie. It's Anj with the Glock to find Quartz. Oh my god, what a great job from Anj. He's done it previously, though they do lose Mo because Anj went for that aggressive play, and now they surely have to play it slow. Quartz is coming back from spawn, but now Turkey's got that frontline pressure. You have to wonder if it was entirely worth it for Anj there to get that shot, as they're slowly getting staggered here. Twisted Minds goes forward with the annihilation as well. An incredibly long fight now. Mo goes down again. Beat drop as well with the overtime. They have to fight it, so might as well commit ultimates in this fight, but unfortunately for Triple, they have none. Twisted Minds will hold in that third phase.
Oh man, Hypocritic Oath, more like Hypocritical Oath. Mercy, you 100% go after every Widow that you see low health when you have a Valk, especially if you need to be able to clear that Widow off of that high ground. Because you look at that overtime fight, no one could do anything about Quartz. So he gets to go for all of the jump grapple shots that he wants.
Moxie, you're right. I think you're right. I think you're right. Listen, you're the best player. I'm not. You know, I don't entirely know exactly if that's the right play or not. I mean, there's so many, like... There's so many...
So in that scenario, right, you know that your Sojourn doesn't have the ult fire, but you also know that Quartz is low enough that he's actually forced to give himself off of that initial high ground ledge so that the Mercy isn't immediately just going to be shot in the open sky the second that you actually go for the Widow. If you're able to collapse onto the Widow just like an Echo or a Pharah, and she doesn't actually get that first shot before you're able to land, you 100% go for the Valk Blaster.
I think you're right. I guess it's just always, you know, up for debate considering, you know, it's just that this is why Widow's so good here. Oh my god, what a play though. They're gonna watch that, and he gets immediately back to his team. So it was just efficient too, honestly, from him. So Triple Esports, though, do still get held even after the Glock was whipped out, and Widow on third point still reigns supreme at the end of the day.
Yeah, we talked about Quartz being one of those standout players that you really do have to watch out for, and a lot of it does come down to flexibility on his heroes. And that's going to play out really well for Havana, but Turkey is also incredibly flexible, and they're going for the spawn hold.
Yeah, he is. They walk out, Twisted Minds onto Mo towards that truck as Slay gets poked. He has to back up. No immortality field for Yubi. Maybe expected a nice block there, and you know, now they're actually getting spawn held by Triple Esports. Like I said, Anj found Kelix and get a play around the point. Quartz trying to go at a different angle, but now has to regroup.
Yeah, Twisted Minds don't have someone who's able to flex onto the Pharaoh or the Echo on their composition at the moment either. Remember, that was how Triple Esports were able to break through. So it's a matter of Quartz or Yubi finding a pick.
Yeah, Yubi has to look for it, but it's Quartz to get pecked off by Legendary with a nice icicle from the back of the map. Now Ant Matrix is committed from Slay. One does have his for the next fight, though, so maybe they don't want to use it. They get to make the decision right now if they want to commit ultimates or just die on the payload. It looks like they're just kind of staggering out at the moment, though. One not killed just yet. In fact, Twisted Minds are having a little bit of a struggle here to find that kill. Eventually find one. Legendary falls two, and Triple Esports, they need to back out now to regroup.
Yeah, they will have the Amp Matrix, however. That's why they have the confidence to be able to keep that fight going for as long as possible. They're trying to burn as much time off of Twisted Minds as possible, since Kelix is going to have to just use that speed on the Lucio to disengage the Amp when it comes through from Triple.
Walking through now towards that staircase to avoid the May wall. They use their own, but eventually it still hits. Now a Blizzard connects into one who was trying to make that rotation. And this is why, you know, you can't really force their rotation. It's so hard to get through, though. Turkey does find UB KSA in that front line, are able to find more. Fourth overclocks pop. Quartz on the high ground, though, is able to collapse with KSA on the low ground and able to win that fight. Triple Esports are stopped, even with some ultimates committed.
Oh, Yubi using that wall to stop Triple Esports from having that wraparound onto the high ground, allowing Turkey to drop behind Twisted Minds is absolutely necessary. But Triple Esports decided they're actually going to commit into this fight. They have two ultimates and they use both of them immediately.
Annihilation from Mo here. They commit those ultimates. Anj did go down, though. Mo eventually fell to KSA's Annihilation. One also eventually gets him, but unfortunately, nobody's there to stop that payload from arriving the checkpoint.
Oh, we've seen this as well. We saw it from Twisted Mind's side. What happens when defending on point A, you throw too many ultimates in and you don't have anything to be able to take this high ground control away from the attacking team, as Quartz immediately makes himself at home on that high ground, just peppering these shots into Triple Esports, looking for that squishy pick.
Yeah, Twisted Minds kind of control the tempo right now as well, with Kelix on the Lucio and for Triple Esports on Anj on the Mercy. It does enable, like, Turkey obviously to get some high damage, but with these rotations, they're able to find Legendary, pick him off. No Lucio speed to regroup with that team, and now Triple Esports just getting picked off time after time again. No Resurrect available either because he's so split from the team. Now a Maywall as well into one. Immortality field used. They can't even break the wall in time either because the Mercy has the staff out trying to pocket. Now this Art moving freely to the very end.
Twisted Mind smell blood in the water, like you pointed out. Anj being there on the Mercy to damage boost Turkey so that he can hit those shots and find those kills faster than Quartz, like you said, means no speed boost. For Twisted Minds, the second they find a pick, they can just keep picking away at Triple Esports composition, as this team just has no way of surviving a disengaged retreat.
Yeah, they're falling apart. I think this might be a bit of a comp diff situation. Twisted Minds now, even with that speed, find more stagger kills. One goes down. Triple Esports, I mean, they got to stop the bleeding somehow. They got to do something to stop Twisted Minds.
It's got to come off of the back of either a Widow or Sojourn taking advantage of that point C hold. Legendary's looking for it. You can see the grapple shot! Oh, and he's looking for more!
Nice shot from Legendary. Looks for that front line. The immortality field used. Also, May ice block. Yubi commits to Blizzard in this fight, but doesn't have anything self-sustained. The Legendary is going for body shot after body shot. Now the headshot onto Quartz, who's coming out from the spawn. And same with KSA. See you later. Back to the spawn doors. Legendary. Good work from him.
Oh man, true to his namesake, that moment is going to go down in absolute legend. Look at it. Body after body falls to the ground. Even finding that grapple shot, knows that 30 seconds have passed, that Quartz is going to be coming out of spawn without using the power slide to make it really hard to predict where he's moving to, and takes the opening pick.
Now they're against an overclock on the offense. Turkey uses his own Annihilation on the front to sustain versus Quartz and also deal damage, but Quartz eventually finds the better of him. Turkey also dealing with Quartz on that flank, but the Mercy pocket was there for Quartz, so he's able to come out on top. Eventually, KSA is looking for this Widowmaker. Legendary in a very aggressive position because this cart is at its last leg, and now it's just Anj, and the payload does have the immortality field. Eventually will go down, and Twisted Minds, even though Legendary found some nice shots, Twisted Minds come out on top on Havana.
Yeah, Twisted Minds looking incredibly strong. Quartz and Yubi, we've talked about them so much, the synergy that these two have between each other. Not only were they picked up by this roster and have been playing for Twisted Minds for a while now, they also, before they got picked up by this team, were playing alongside each other on the side of the Ultimates. So when Quartz is making that room, Yubi knows exactly how to take advantage and vice versa.
No. Twisted Minds looking good, obviously, going into the next map, trying to get that first to 3 victory, so they're at that match point. And for Triple Esports, it's up to them what map they want to take. Surely we'll see some subs, right? Moxie coming in on the next maps. I think that this map in particular, you should obviously try to play maybe the Widow, but, as we've seen, Moxie, when we talk to teams like, oh, yeah, they've said that, we just try to play the same comp everywhere, It might not be a bad play even on maps where you would think your comp is not that strong.
Yeah, I think the problem as well is that these teams, despite trying to move away from being that Pharah and the Echo, when they're running these compositions that aren't the Pharah and the Echo, there are certain things that are advised that you never do, that you never have to worry about, right? If you're running a Pharah and an Echo and you have 2 support ultimates up, you've got a Nano Boost and a Valkyrie. If you overlap the two, not a lot of sweat off of your back. But unfortunately, the moment that we actually saw that full ultimate commitment of both the Beat and the Amp at the same time, when Triple are trying to defend point A, they just lose all momentum because they have no ultimate to be able to anchor and push Twisted Minds away from having that high ground control and punishing the fact that if they find that first pick with a Sojourn, everyone on the side of Triple is just going to be running around.
Triple Esports, obviously, like you said, they have Anj on the Mercy. He's a fantastic Mercy player. But obviously, maybe a bit of a miscalculation in terms of compositions played there, Moxie. Obviously, Havana's a rangy map, but, Twisted Minds still took advantage of being able to control the tempo with their Lucio, and were kind of able to just constantly pick off Triple Esports unexpectedly. Even at that first point, for example, we see teams, Moxie, always go up the staircase to try to get that flank angle, and that was kind of where everything collapsed. It felt like for Triple Esports, they tried to rotate over to that staircase to get to the high ground, but every time teams do that, they just get Maywalled off, and instead of making a rotation or some sort of change, they just try to force feed it through, and unfortunately it led to Triple Esports losing one in that fight and then getting staggered on through.
Yeah, so the problem as well is that the Mercy is only going to help if you're controlling that space already, right? A lot of the time, if you have the Mercy damage boosting that DPS, you want them to be set up where they're going to be able to have as little movement as possible, because when they're relocating, that's when they're the most vulnerable. That's when they're going to get targeted by the other side. But that only gets to come into play if you have the space already. So time after time after time, Triple lost that space, had to come back into the fight, and that's when we would see everyone from the side of Twisted Minds would already be occupying the angles that they wanted control of. And like you said, that bled into B and it bled into C as well.
Yeah, and obviously they still have to choose the map. I think they're still deciding what they want to go through for Triple Esports, because it really does matter what map they choose before we see anything else now happen. It looks like they choose Esperança here, Moxie, versus Twisted Minds. Triple Esports think this might be the map that'll give them an edge.
This is the map where we're actually going to see a sub come through from their side as well. Interesting to see whether or not Twisted Minds are going to answer back with a sub of their own in this chess match between these two teams, as Triple Esports are going to be taking Turkey out and Yazan is going to be coming back into the field. And this makes sense for Triple Esports, right? We talked about their ultimate cycling, that a lot of the time when they had those support ultimates up, it felt like they overlapped them one too many times. It's because they're so used to that one soul win condition for this team, literally being balled up nano boost, put it onto Yazan, send him in, he kills everyone.
Well, that could work out on this map in particular. I think it's definitely not that bad, but obviously for push Moxie, a lot of teams love to run the Sojourn, and for Twisted Minds, it looks like they're not making any composition changes with their player, or any role players being subbed in for Quartz. He's going to be continuing on into this matchup instead of saying Labda again. And that makes a lot of sense. At every level, we see a lot of Sojourn on push. Obviously, Triple Esports are very confident in running an Echo or a Pharah against it. We'll see if it pans out for him. But yeah, Moxie, like the Sojourn seems like it could be like a just continual mainstay on push.
It could be. We could see that hit scan come through as well, however, so you can try and two-tap the head of either the Mercy or the Pharah. Because here's the domino effect, right? You have two schools of thought. Twisted Minds are not fielding Lambda because they think that they're confident enough in being able to control the high ground avenues, those bridges over the main road, to be able to make sure that they continue to have that distance pressure from that hit scan to be able to push onto Yazan and his pocket of Ange. But that impacts Triple Esports because it means that Labda isn't there to push Yazan onto playing the Echo. If he wants to, he can go onto his more comfortable Pharah.
Yeah, I like that. That's actually a good point. You know, those high grounds, you know, hopefully for the side of Twisted Minds, at least they're thinking, maybe with the pacing, they're able to work down Yazan. Make sure to let us know, by the way, what you guys are feeling via Twitter. Hashtag OWPTB2023 and Triple Esports on their side. Moxie, they're locking that queen again.
Yeah, Mo's going to be there for that sustainability because, again, one is making sure he's not going to be locked down, as well as being able to build that Kitsune Rush, which immediately allows the tempo and control of that space to come to Triple Esports side, impacting on, unfortunately, a lot of healing downtime. So Mo needs to have that sustainability to keep himself alive without relying on his supports.
Twisted Minds have UB on the Sojourn, meanwhile, and have already rotated around the robot. Triple Esports want to set up Legendary towards the bridge, so that's why they're not exactly moving towards the robot just yet. Poking for that Sombra is Legendary just to build a little bit of those shots back. Robot now pushing forward, but they want to stop it before it gets that advantage. Yubi with the hack on the back line on the Legendary, but immediately the peel comes through to force Yubi out of that fight. Now that robot starting to progress forward. Twisted Mind using the advantage that is Yubi, being able to go for those hacks. As Triple Esports, they can't really exactly explode out of this choke because they don't have that Lucio. They're just running that Kiriko Mercy, whereas Twisted Minds can just continue to control the entire pacing of these fights, honestly. Even without Quartz having that Mercy pocket and getting that Echo damage, they're able to just speed forward. Oh my god, nice shots from Quartz. Incoming Immortality Field. Mo tries to go forward at the choke point, but it's Quartz! Oh my god, what a two-tap from him onto that front line. Now he's looking for the head of Mo, and it seems like he didn't even need any warm-up time at all. Amazing shots from him so far.
Yeah, the slowness of the Mercy and the Kiriko just cannot out-heal the damage that Quartz is outputting when he's able to hit those two shots back-to-back that quickly. One does trade him, however, and Twisted Minds not actually running a Mercy won't be able to revive Quartz in time for this next fight if Triple Esports want to take it now.
Yeah, they can back up though. Slay decides to use the Ant Matrix. They're not backing up. They're just keeping that pace going forward. Ange has to use the the Valkyrie to back out of there. Can't resurrect just yet. Now tries to go back in for it very fast. Yazan actually, I don't think he didn't get resurrected there either. He got pushed out of it.
He got booped. KSA's boost is actually knocked on off it.
What a good job by KSA to avoid that resurrect from coming through. Quartz now sitting in the back of the map with the high noon ready to go as Triple Esports is, Engage is going to be incredibly slow because they don't have that Lucio. They're kind of biding their time, but it's against Quartz with the high noon. It's pretty rough. He's sitting back all the way over here to the ground. The Kiriko Kitsune Rush is enough to give him that speed forward, but the high noon and the beat drop, and now more people can save Mo on the low ground. Quartz again just might as well keep the POV on him the entire fight. He even removes Bob as well. 2k for him. 2.5k because of Bob, I guess. Now control that robot again. 30 meters on the board for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, finds one with the Magnate as well as, Yubi, that's so mean. Hacks the health pack. There's no Sombra on the other side, so there's absolutely nothing stopping him. That's just depleting Triple Esports resources even more, punishing the fact that this Mercy and Kiriko just do not have the sustainability when Quartz and Yubi are able to keep this damage consistently there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're not coaches or players, but it feels like the Mercy Kiriko composition is a bit slow because the Junk Queen doesn't have a lot of this push or a lot of speed potential, but Quartz does trade off Legendary. The Resurrect did come through, however. Triple Esports still have the main advantage. Diva Bomb to zone off the backline and immediately copy Diva Bomb to the backline to force Quartz off the high ground. Actually gets the kill. Nice job from Yazan to open that back up for them. Mogo's incredible on the front line, so he's forced to use the Rampage. Ultimate's committed in what feels like a team fight already won. Now Twisted Minds will take a wipe here, but they have some decent ults going to the next one, Mox.
They can try and take this high ground away from Twisted Minds too, but first things first, they have to spy check Yubi. They do not want to get hit by this EMP because so many of them rely on mobility from their abilities. If they get hit by EMP, those are all rendered useless.
Yeah, he's going to set up in the back line. Maybe he'll do a little bit of spy checking, but they don't really have a lot of great heroes for Sombra checking, right? Like, they don't have a lot. The D.Va with the infinite ammo, and they just kind of have to slowly burst their way through. Now, Ant Matrix used EMP on the low ground onto Mo. Suzu used as well as the shout, so he sustains for now, but because they've had to come through with that peel, Yazan falls to the courts again, who has been really a standout player thus far. Also, Anj does have that Valkyrie to attempt to sustain. Eventually, Quartz falls back to his team. But an aggressive High Noon with the speed, and there's no speed from Triple Esports to run away from this. Eventually, one finds Quartz, but man, I just can't help but feel, Moxie, like this is a bit of, again, like the previous one, a bit of a compositional difference.
Yeah, unfortunately for Triple Esports as well, where they take that fight, they lose that line of sight breakage of the clock tower to actually be able to hide away from that Deadeye without that Lucio. That's what they were really relying on being able to play around with. And Twisted Minds pick up those first checkpoints.
I mean, they just know they have the speed advantage. Anj is able to pocket Legendary though, so maybe slowly but surely they can walk their way through, especially with a Bob and with some ultimates. They do have the advantage in that department, so they do get the checkpoint though on the side of Twisted Minds, however, so it's a little worrisome for Triple Esports. KSA does use those thrusters to get to the high ground onto Ledger to force him down to the low, but it's Anj who got picked by Yubi, who is waiting in that back line, and now Quartz, knowing that he has a lot of that pressure negated off of him from Yubi's able to now walk forward, and Anj still has to come back from spawn. Bob comes in, and the Kitsune rush to attempt to stop the push with a beat drop is Twisted Minds. They have to try to disengage. They get rid of the Bob, had to use Immortality Field, so they're still fine. Yazan goes towards that payload and forced to use the block, but gets picked off again, and this is looking a lot like Havana now. Slay can push forward, still holds onto the Ant Matrix. D.Va Bomb flies deep into the backline. It's avoided for now, but because Legendary had to stay forward to avoid the D.Va Bomb, he gets picked off too, and this is disastrous so far for Triple Esports.
Yeah, Yazan on that May tried to wall Twisted Minds off, but the question then became just an all-out damage race, and Twisted Minds, having that sustainability of the Baptiste with the burst, is able to immediately out-damage and out-heal Triple Esports, as we're going to see Legendary and Sojin. Yazan has the Blizzard, the wall comes through, and Slay sees it, it's out, and uses Amp.
He uses the Amp in the main. Triple Esports waits around the backside. I mean, it's a Valkyrie for the damage amp of the... But Quartz just gets the pick onto one, so just ult's removed. Gets rid of one. Anj, though, does get the resurrect, but it's immediately into an EMP, and Quartz is there with the magnetic grenade. Slay also finds Yazan. Anj tries the pistol Yubi, but man, this is falling apart. Last map for Triple Esports.
Yeah, the win condition was the Echo, and Quartz has absolutely derailed that plan in its entirety. Triple Esports do have ultimates. The problem is Slay's going to have Immortality Field, so even if they combo up Self-Destruct and Blizzard, they need to burn Lamp out first.
They have swapped to the Lucio, so they can at least speed away from the High Noon, but Quartz is already in a great position with the Legendary. Finds Yubi. Oh my god, that is still hit underneath that turret, or whatever that is on the right side. Amazing shots from Quartz after the High Noon. Now one commits the Lamp to save himself. Yazan with the Blizzard does equalize it, though. Slay and Quartz both removed, and finally off of a 3K from Yazan. And the swap to Lucio, this could enable Triple Esports.
Triple Esports have Self-Destruct to work with, but Twisted Minds just have so much distance. KSA now actually going to be going on to that Ramatra to be able to use the shield and negate a lot of that early poke damage coming through from Legendary and Yazan, as well as have a shield to be able to body through Mo's ult.
Yazan, another pick onto Quartz. He's doing a great job at the moment on that May. Should give him a pretty big advantage here. Twisted Minds do commit the Ant Matrix, though, even though down numbers, because they have that checkpoint. Though KSA goes incredibly low. Immortality Field eventually removed. Beat drop to layer on. Twisted Minds want to win this even without Quartz. The D.Va Bomb, though, from Mo on the high ground eventually finds Slay. Now they're getting staggered, so potentially a bit overconfident. Yubi does trade back one. Yazan does find him. Triple Esports don't even have to use any ultimates. They'll find these cleanup kills in. Both teams kind of playing a bit messy and making some mistakes now, Moxie.
Triple Esports did, however, lose one who had Ant Matrix ready to go. So as a result, we are going to see them aggressively push towards Twisted Minds, just taking away that mega health pack room so that Twisted Minds aren't able to mount together a push and hit into Triple Esports until their support is back.
That's so far. They have so far to run. Yazan's not in position for it. Does he get picked off here? No. does come back all the way around. Legendary doesn't have the high ground. They barely regroup, keeping Yazan in this fight. Now, Moses can touch the payload on the low ground. One with the Ant Matrix waiting above, uses the Regenerative Burst on his team to keep him alive. Gets that little bit of save, but it's Quartz to find the pick on the low ground. Meanwhile, KSA gets picked off from a nice Maywall from Yazan, though a Blizzard does come through on that high ground to zone off one, forced to use the Immortality Flow to keep himself alive, then peeks onto the high ground onto Quartz, but it's Yubi and Slay to combine for 2 more to give him that fight when Yazan, though, does get the Blizzard kill on that low ground. However, he's lost his entire team on that robot. Eventually, Shirley's going to get picked off here and stagger. Can't even come through the payload, but that's a reset now for Triple Esports.
A lot of space again to have to walk for Triple Esports to get back into this next fight. And Quartz, he's already got the dead eye. He can just wait for Triple Esports to run straight into him. And we are actually going to see Yazan out onto the Hanzo to try and use something like the Sonic, as well as that one-shot potential to try and figure where the Cass is.
Yeah, he's waiting on the top, has the 100 ready to go. Legendary tries to take that duel, but he has both supports. They rotate all the way around to the opposite side because the robot was pushed into such a favorable area for them. They get a very good angle now for this Ant Matrix, and Mo's kind of caught out, does go underneath. They beat drop re-engage onto the Ant Matrix, but he has the Immortality Field and the high nuke. Can he get him through the car? Oh my god! Underneath the crotch of the robot. What a shot from Quartz. Then the magnetic grenade onto Yazan, but it's Legendary to find one, but nobody touches! Oh my god! Twisted Minds get the 3-1 win and move forward in the upper brackets.
They continue undefeated. What a team! What a Cole Cassidy. Quartz. He was just a cool cowboy.
He was. No electric cowboy though, sadly, Moxie, but you know.
I don't think he needed it when he was hitting clicks like that.
Yeah. He really didn't. And, you know, a bit of a hard lesson to learn, I feel like, Moxie, for Triple Esports. Obviously, they stuck with Ange on the Mercy, and, you know, Ange has Lucio in his hero pool. I mean, I feel like that's the win condition, right? It's just like you don't have speed. The pacing was all controlled by Twisted Minds, and you're just at the mercy of whenever Twisted Minds wanted to engage.
Yeah, Triple Esports, like, their win condition was that they could have Yazan on the Echo, Legendary on the Ashe, and that Ange could actually go between damage boosting both of them, since Echo needs a lot less damage boost than the Pharah because you have so much kill potential with the Beam, the Stickies, and just your primary. And Legendary can actually really benefit from that Mercy boost as well. The problem is that that win condition is immediately taken off the board when Quartz is just that good at Cassidy and he's hitting those shots left, right, and center. And like you said, a lot of the times that Triple Esports unfortunately lost those fights, it was off of a lack of Lucio. That Twisted Minds immediately identified, okay, we have the speed. We're going to be able to collapse onto Triple Esports and there's nothing they can do. Every single time they try and contest us, one, they're not going to be able to just burst heal the way that we can, so we can just get incredibly aggressive and brawl into Triple Esports. And two, if they just find one first pick, we go straight back to the scenario of Havana. One pick spiraling to an attempt to disengage, but it's messy without the speed boost, and no one's able to actually run away in time before Quartz takes everyone to town.
Fantastic work from Twisted Minds, and like you said, Quartz in particular, I think he's just such a good player. Overall, I think we don't talk about him enough. I mean, fantastic Cassidy, fantastic Widow, really just comes in and immediately impacts the game. And, you know, for Twisted Minds, that's a good 3-1 victory again. Obviously, if I'm not mistaken, earlier on in the bracket, Twisted Minds got a 3-1 win over was it Peps in the quarterfinals? So, you know, so far looking clean throughout this tournament, Moxie. It feels like Twisted Minds really just continuing a bit of their dominance from the regular season. And, you know, Moxie, obviously, now we move on to that lower bracket for the rest of today's matches. I'm excited to watch those.
I'm excited to see who, as well, we're going to be watching, because, I mean, we saw SRP check yesterday, and they looked incredibly dominant with those Reinhardt compositions, but we don't actually know yet who their opponent is going to be until... Oh, no, we still don't.
Nope, still don't. That game was pretty fast, honestly, I guess. Even though it was a 3-1, Twisted Minds really... you know, put on a show for us, and obviously still have to see what happens between Explosione and but Triple Esports obviously going against Sheer Cold, and that'll be the next matchup that we'll see. Obviously, we still have to interview somebody from Twisted Minds, though, so we'll have to, you know, talk to Slay after a short break. So, guys, make sure you stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for that interview with Slay, and then more Overwatch matches later.
Tracer has quickly become one of the most popular heroes in high-level Overwatch 2. It takes insane mechanical skill, cerebral game sense, and ice in your veins to make impact plays with her. But these players make it look easy.
Maimon and Vestola just playing off of each other perfectly.
W Maimon, by the way, found one who built that Transcendent. And a pulse bomb connects onto both Fuki and Turkey. W Maimon on this map on Havana truly has been next level.
And just as their eyes glance away, a pulse bomb connects to the back of their head. Kanale and Cookie hit the dirt. Rocket trying. Rocket could be a hero in moments like these. Rocket saved the day again! Rocket's gonna chase him out too. Oh, and he tracer gaps him. Yeah, Rocket's that guy right now.
Welcome back, everybody. We have Slay with us from Twisted Minds, who just won 3-1 over Triple Esports. What's up, Slay? How you feeling? Congrats on the win, man.
I'm doing good, thank you.
Nice, good to hear.
So first off, I have to ask, because we saw Yazan play on King's Row, and then we saw him play as well on that last map of Push, and something had obviously changed. Was it Coach just coming in, getting to play that Cassidy that allowed your team to really rally around him having that the hit scan traditional counter, which was the reason why you decided not to go towards Lambda?
Well, we always play Lambda on King's Row, but recently we tried to, because people tend to like counter Pharah out of spawn, so the ramp comp we played like 10 times success, but it didn't, right? So we swapped, but normally we always play Lambda on that map and quads and others. That's kind of why, not because of we wanted to play quads anything, it's just his map.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess for you guys, Slay, and for you in particular, I feel like you've constantly been evolving your hero pool just to kind of individualize it for you. Whereas, like, I know you've played Karika before, but, obviously we know you for a lot of your other, fantastic supports. Obviously, Brigitte at some points for you, Slay. I mean, what's it like as a flex support right now just to continually be evolving to, like, honestly be one of the best EMEA flex supports? Like, what does it take to be at the level that you're at the moment?
Well, you need to be able to play all heroes, right? Like, the game is in a state right now where you can play like every single comp. Like Moira is even played now if you play Reaper with Ram, right? And you haven't played Moira in a while, but most of the time it's just like keep practicing and getting good at like every hero, because you need to play every hero, right? And besides maybe Sen is like kind of not a playable hero right now, but like every other hero you have to play at a high level, right? Like Beb, Anna, Kiri, even Sen, right? But of course you're not that playable, and Moira as well. You have to just like stay on top of your game and like watch like what all people do and keep learning the macro and the macro of the heroes.
So then, to talk about playing support, we're obviously in a meta where supports are probably one of the most hunted after targets, either against the Tracer Sombra composition or the composition that you guys were running into with that Tracer and Echo. How are you able to survive as long as you're able to?
Well, if you know you're the target, you play live all the time, right? So you save your cooldowns for yourself, and then on BEP you just slam first when the echo goes in with the tracer, and then you shift after. And you just keep like squeezing your cooldowns and asking for peel, right? Because especially when you play like the BEP Sombra comp, like a BEP Sombra May, most of the time you're like the trade target, so you really need like everyone to peel most of the time, else you're gonna die. Because once you run out of blimp and shift, the ram will always kill you, right? Because there's nothing else. There's no sleep like on Anna, right? You can just sleep the ram and you're safe. But Anna is not that good anymore, especially with the sleep nerf against ram. So there's more just really carrying your life in this meta because you always trade target.
Yeah. Well, I guess another like evolution in Flex Support play too has been, you know, obviously like I said, the Kuriko swaps recently, right? And you know, obviously, I think that character is a bit different than a lot of the other Flex supports because, you know, you're also going on flank angles at times, right? Like, you know, you're sitting off with your Tracer, you know, dueling with them, you know, a lot of times. I think we saw you even on King's Row, like, you're just off, you know, on like a little, like, flank angle, just trying to take damage and then swift step back as well. I mean, is there, like, has that been something that you've had to learn as well as the ability to play aggressive on Kuriko?
Well, Kiri in the monkey meta, right, was like hard pocket, only heal, and you tend not to DPS, but since the ult is not that strong and you can't just like force the fight down main, you have to kind of take off angles, especially if you play like let's say you play like the Mercy comp or whatever with Kiri, you kind of have to like set up your Tracer and set up flanks and look to kill the backline. And also if you have double flex, it's the same, right? You can't just AFK heal, because at that point you're just a better Zen that's taking an off angle where you can't die, where you have like basically a free orb on your mouse one. So
yeah.
You know, it's really powerful, right? Like you hit one headshot on the Tracer and then he can't play the game for like 15 seconds, right? Like you kind of you have to play aggressive on flanks and hit the shots, especially in double flex.
It's like a better Zen, yeah.
So then, to sort of move away from individual play and look at the team as a more broader sense, the team is obviously undefeated at the moment, and going through regular season now in playoffs, you fought a lot of the teams that are still in circulation. Is there any team that you're worried about, given everyone's had the 3 weeks downtime, to now be able to strategize against your compositions?
Well, today's match was honestly like one of the matches that could have been like, it was also a dogfight because they also play Pharah and they have like pretty good Pharah team, so kinda was a little bit worried because Yasan is really good at Pharah, right? Like he's pretty scary in legendary, I think it's called. It's also a really good hit scan, so that one could have been a bit difficult. But besides that, I think the only team that's gonna like be hard besides Triple is gonna be EXO, because they have really good players too. And they play like the Sombra Tracer, and they play the Sombra Tracer pretty decent, I think. And they have good monkey player, Doge, right? And so they can be a bit hard, but we'll see, right? How good they are at the Sombra Tracer at countering.
You're being nice now.
Also,
oh yeah.
And also on RAM, I think, you know, I don't think there's any RAM team that can beat us. So I think when it comes to those maps, you're always gonna win. It's more the dive maps.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're being kind of nice too, because like obviously coming into the interview, you know, little private conversation, you were like, oh, you know, if this was EXO, it would have been a 3-0, right? Like was there was there a little bit of maybe like you're expecting to go against them and being able to 3-0 them later?
Oh no, I meant with my old team.
With the old EXO
from last year, yeah.
Yeah, you guys were pretty dominant, honestly, so far. And, you know, Slay, honestly, for you, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you guys next up versus EXO, or whoever else, sorry. That game isn't even over yet. We don't even know. Appreciate you coming by. Congrats on the win, and good luck next round.
Thank you.
That's Slay from Twisted Minds. I'm about to say EXO again. I mean, he was just so synonymous with Explosione after that. And obviously, guys, a few more matches for you guys later today, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a break for more Overwatch.
Has your music lately been sounding off? Melodies sounding out of tune? Shows ending without a swoon? Missing your beats? With no way to improve your feats? Well, just you wait until you get your hands on the brand new Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin! Obtaining such a masterpiece is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders will contribute to your drops progress.
letting you claim each outstanding offer, including the luminescent and lustrous lime locks of Lucio, equipped with the latest and greatest hardware and software. The Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin will be sure to heighten your harmonies and fire up your fans.